Hi, welcome to Mystery Mike. Thank y'all for tuning in. Alrighty, here in central Maryland, we've been getting a lot of rain and things are really muddy. And the next 2 days are going to get really cold. Then it's going to warm up and be sunny. Alrighty, well, I want you to come on over and I want to show you a shed that I'm building here. Wait, did I just hear somebody in the back said they didn't want to come on over? I see you right there in the corner. You too, come on over. Everybody watching, come on over. All right. We're all going to get a little muddy. Didn't have much snow this year. Actually, they're claiming this is what? The warmest winter on record. This is where it gets muddy. Can't help from hauling hay back and forth to the cattle. We'll have to fix all the scars in the land in the spring. Come on over here. I'm going to show you something, and I want you to all think about it. And I'm not going to tell you what it is until I get done showing you everything else. I want you all to focus in on this, these little marks. See all these little strike marks? All the way up here like that. All the way up. All right? Now I just want you to think about what did that. What it is. But I'm not going to tell you yet until I tell you about the shed. What I have here is Locust Posts. And the reason why I have Locust Posts is because Locust is one of the best posts to put in the ground that will last the longest that I know of. And even then, I'm worried about it because I noticed down on the bottom there's a little decay. But it always decays right where it touches the ground and a little under. And the old timers, what they used to do is they used to kind of like tinge it with a little fire and make it like a charcoal a little bit, and that would like seal it and keep the bugs off. And they also would take like a half diesel and half let's see, I think it was half diesel and half old motor oil, and they would mix that up and they would paint it on there to the touch. And then they would paint it on there and then they would wait until it dries to the touch. And then they would take like some kind of asphalt after it would dry to the touch to where it's just tacky, and then they would paint that on there. But what I did on the pole is I took some roofing cement, what you can see here, and some gasoline, and I mixed it real thin and I painted it on there, but it's not good enough. And what I have in the house is when I went to that farm show up in Pennsylvania, up in York County, Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago, I come across a company that can sell you, I don't know exactly what it is, I gotta call them yet, that you put it on there and you wrap it. So I'll have to dig down so deep because it's rotting a little too much. I don't know, it probably would last a long time, but after you put all the money in it, the roof and all, you don't want none of your poles rotting. As you can see how I did my roof there and everything, and you can see all the poles that I used. Now when you use these poles, okay, it's, you know, they're free, and that's the best thing about it. You don't have to pay for them, and they're good and strong. But the only thing, it's hard working with them because they're all different sizes. So when it comes to squaring things up, it's kind of rough, but it looks real good, and it looks neat, and it's a lot of fun using this kind of timbers. And what I did is I got these in the springtime, and springtime is the only time that it is easy to take all the bark off and all the sapwood. And the reason why you want to take all that bark and sapwood off is because that's what draws all the bugs, and that's what they like to eat. And then once they get into the hard stuff, they don't like eating that. And it's harder for them. But that's the only time that the bark comes off very easy, in the spring. Now if you get it later, like in the fall of the year, when it's not all that sap running up in it, then it becomes real hard and you have to really chip it off little by little, to where in the spring you can just make one big slice and almost peel it. So keep on thinking about this, okay? Keep on thinking about those marks. Alrighty. You can see it's off here a little bit, but this is the best I could do. I had to bow it like that because after I put the poles in, they weren't lined up as good as I want them to be. And you can't move these poles. I got balls of cement on them. So I had to, when you're dealing with wood like this, you got to do a little twisting here and there. But overall, it might be off a little bit on looks, but it still looks good. But beyond that, it's very strong. So I want to show you that. And I still got a lot of work to do on it. I wanted to go over about, another 30 feet or so, because it's going to be 50 by 20 with roughly 2 foot overhangs. And you can see my beams I got up there. What I did, I don't know if you can focus in here. It's probably better because it's getting a little dark and it's a little hard in there to see. I put notches in up there, and then I set the 2 by 12 in the notch, and then I put 3 half-inch bolts to hold that in. You can see how I'm doing this. I was just using regular wood, but then I could see the carpenter bees was starting to get in it, so then I started using all treated wood because the carpenter bees don't like that as much. And once those carpenter bees get in here, you got to stop it right away, because that will go on year after year. You got to kill them right away, because they'll set eggs in that wood and they'll come out every spring, and it will just become more and more and more. So you got to really nip it in the bud, which I did. Eventually I'm going to put a sealer all over this. You can see when you look down here, it's got some waves in it. It's not as straight as I would like, but once again, when I'm dealing with timbers like this, it's hard to get all those waves out because of the bows that are in the wood. And when I paint it, I'll paint it with a flat paint so it don't pick it up as much. And what I should have did here is used really treated, 4 foot up on the plywood, but it's going to be overbuilt, and I guess going to cost me a little bit more money. But after it's all done, I'll probably just run treated plywood all around here, so that way when the water hits the ground and splashes up, it won't bother it, it won't rot it. I want it to last a nice long time. But you can see I got to trim this off here yet, and I got a lot more wood to put up. All this front's going to be open. These bays are 10 feet apart, give or take. They're off a little bit. And then the bay over here, I think, is going to be 14 foot, so I can put my disc spine in. Right now I'm just covering it up out of the rain, but that's extra work. And in the summertime, when you're using your equipment, a storm's coming up, it's too much work just to throw a cover over it. It's going to be so much easier just to pull your equipment right in and under it. And you can see I'm working up here still, and eventually I'm going to put post over here, it'll be 14 foot, and then so on and so on. It's going to come out to about, well, it might come out a couple more feet, like 52 feet, I think. 52, or I gotta measure it, it's going to probably be over 50 some feet. But it's coming around and it's looking good, and I'm really proud of it. I just need more time to work on it. But anyway, I want to show you all that. Now, coming back to this. Now, I mentioned that this is very hard wood, which it is. This wood will split and crack before it bends. Well, I mean, it will bend a little bit, but before it bends to any amount, it's going to crack and split. Very, very hard wood. But the very surface here, because it's kind of like a fresh wood, the very surface here is just a little soft, okay? Just a little, because if you go in a little bit more, it gets harder. But right here, it's just a little soft. All those little scuff marks are bees, and they're scraping that little bit of wood off of it, and they're making their paper nest. So if you're ever around old wood and you see those scrape marks like that, that's bees. They're scraping that, and then after they scrape it, then they'll go ahead and make their beehive. Alrighty, well, I hope you all enjoyed that. I want to thank you all for watching, and just remember, be someone important, be yourself. Until next time, God bless. See ya.